I spent 2 years in King Abdulaziz University in between 80 to 82. And I attended to the conferences. I was the member of the International Research Institute of Islamic Economics in King Abdulaziz University. So I helped to the establishment of the Islamic Development Bank, because in that conference, in my presentation, the chairman was the chairman of the Islamic Development Bank, Dr. Ahmed Ali. Then became friends with each other, and whenever they needed, they asked me, and I went to the IDB to help them. And in the first establishment, he invited us because they wanted to recruit some staff for their bank, and 17,000 people applied there. So after elimination, a lot of them, he asked to myself and Dr. Ahmed Najjar, who was the founder of this Islamic banking philosophy, together us to go to the Islamic countries and to recruit the people. We did that. So after a time, sometimes they invited, we went to Islamic development banks to help them, to conferences, to seminars and so forth. In 1992, they provided me the Islamic Development Bank Prize Award. And in 96, here provided me a prize award also in Los Angeles. So, and this time, this new merger of Abdurrahman Yahya with Istanbul, previous Faisal Bank and so forth. I was the member of the board of directors of Faisal Bank, so I'm now a kind of a consultant for them there. So they invited a representative from that section, and Mustafa Bey, one of our brothers, and myself, we came here to represent partners. So this is the story. In the first half of the 20th century, in Indian continent, a concept was improved as Islamic Economics, because the intellectuals there knew English and Western sciences. Also, they knew Arabic and Eastern sciences. So to introduce economics in the Islamic way, they invented the terminology, Islamic Economics, like Mevdudi, Nedwi, Hamidullah. So after 70s, when the Islamic countries, some of them, had the oil income, became rich, the intellectuals in the Islamic world started to ask this question. Some of us, in Islamic countries, accepted capitalist system and went to the Western group. Some of them received the socialist system, went to the other group. But neither of them could improve themselves and became an improved country. So it means that they couldn't succeed. Therefore, they asked this question for themselves. What are we? Are we Muslim? If we are Muslim, Muslim means the Sharia of Prophet and the order of Allah. If Allah gave us a worldly order, are there not some rules about economic life? What are they? So they started these questions, and Islamic economics became an issue. In 1975, during Faisal of King Saudi Arabia, he ordered to King Abdulaziz University to organize an international conference about Islamic economics. But unfortunately, he died. He was killed. And in 1976, this conference became realized. So they invited about 300 professors from economics and fiqh there. And we went from Turkey, about 7 people. After this conference, a center was established for research activities. And during this time also, the question was related to the financial area. They asked that banking system is interest-based riba banking, which is prohibited by Islam. So can we establish an interest-free LARIBA financial organization? They asked the fuqaha, and they provided an organization structure for them. They said that it is possible to establish a LARIBA financial system. It is based on 4 activities. Musharaka means equity. Mudaraba means profit and loss sharing. Ijara means leasing. And murabaha means commerce. So on these 4 activities, a bank can be established. So state to state, like World Bank, they established this Islamic Development Bank, Bank-ı Tenmiye-i İslamiye. So all of the members of the Islamic Conference became gradually the member of this bank. And the shareholder was the states of Islamic Conference. And they started to this. After that, in the Islamic countries, on the private sector, they started to establish some LARIBA financial institutions on the same structure of the Islamic Development Bank. So this was the model. According to that model, private banks have been established. But there was 2 routes on this area. In some countries like Pakistan, Iran, and Sudan, the whole banking activities were changed to the LARIBA system by the state law, by the decree of the governments. So by legislation, the banks became LARIBA banks. In other countries, the rest of the Islamic world, some private institutions were established, and they worked in competition with the other conventional banks. So this is the system. And in the United States, as far as I know, in 1987, Yahya Abdurrahman established this LARIBA American Finance House on the same structure. And they were successful, alhamdulillah. And today we are in this position. At that point, our Prophet, in the last khutbah of Wada, he said that interest is forbidden. And I forbid the interest of my uncle, for example. So after that, in the business life, interest accepted as illegal, haram. And instead of riba, business were accepted. So if you need a money, a credit, for example, they accepted this as a social obligation, not economic tools. It means you may, if you have an income, excess income, you may give to your brother, but not to earn money from your money. You can give it for the sake of Allah, just to help him. Therefore, they called him Kard-ı Hasen, good credit. So Kard-ı Hasen means you give the credit to a person, personally, but you don't accept any reward, material reward. The person, then later, he can pay you back the sum what they got it. So this was the situation. But in the business life, later and today, they introduced this profit and loss sharing system instead of interest system. It means if you have money, I have money, and you are a business person, entrepreneur. You want to establish something, a business, but you don't have money. You tell me that, let us establish an organization. You pay money, I work in the business. If we have profit, we can share it. You can bargain on the percentage of the profits. 40% for you, 60% for me, or 60% for you, 40% for me. So on whatever basis you agree with each other, you start with the business. So at the end of the business, every year, you can divide your profits according to your bargaining basis. This is called profit and loss. If the business is not successful, then I lose my money, you lose your business. You gain the money. For example, in the United States, in the non-Muslim countries also, they realized the benefits of this system. In Silicon Valley, the whole new investments related to the new risky area of computer industry had been established by this system. It was called a risk capital system. In the risk capital system, the financial institutions provided the finance, but it was a new area, completely risky area, so they didn't give this on the basis of interest, on the basis of profit sharing system. So Bill Gates, all these investments were established on this system, profit and loss sharing system, because in that case, the whole risk was not transferred to the shoulder of the business person. The risk is shared by the financier and the business entrepreneur. So it means that when you give money for the economic reason, you calculate the end of the business. If it is a profitable business, you pay the money. If you believe that this can be succeed, you pay the money. At the end, you get the income as a percentage of your profit. So therefore, not like banking system, in this financial system, financial groups has to investigate the probability of success of the industry. Even if they have guarantee, still they have to investigate seriously. In other case, they cannot get share of the profit. Therefore, it means that they invest more on profitable business, and therefore the national income can improve and economic growth can be faster in this system because the investments will not be invested in the non-profitable areas. Especially in the risky area. If, for example, if there is an economic crisis, in that case, the business people will think, I have enough investment and the interest rate is growing up. So why should put myself under risky area? He will decline to make some new investment. So the economic growth will be decreased. So in these areas, this system will stimulate the economic growth. In 1981, from Saudi Arabia, the son of the Faisal, Mohammed Faisal, has taken 40 professors from Islamic world and 40 professors from the non-Muslim world. We came together in Baden-Baden in Germany and discussed these problems of Islamic economics. And one of the German professors, by econometric models, explained this system, and he said that if we had introduced this system in our crisis time in Germany, because there was a sluggish situation, the development was decreased, we could have more successful economic growth in this system, because most of the investors declined to make investment in Germany and the economic growth stopped. Because at that time there was no such an industrial revolution. There was a craft industry, zanaat system. So small industry. In this area, the family business was dominant. So master, the helping vice master, and the apprentice. So there was a small shopping system. So the credit system was not needed much. But in spite of this, during the Ottoman era, we see that there was cash foundations, nukut vakıf. So if you are a rich person, you put your money in a foundation. You could say that, take this money and use this in business, and the income of this money spend for the goals of this vakf, for the beneficiary, for the social works. So they did this, and it means that they invested the money in the business life and profit and loss system, and the profits of this investment used in the foundation for the charity area. So there were some examples. And Murat Çizakçı, a professor from Bosphorus University, provided some lectures, and they were published by King Abdulaziz University and Islamic Foundation last year in Loughborough in UK. To make the economic life more just, based on adalet. Today, the main problem of the world is the interest problem. Today, you see more than 80% of the world population are sacrificing. Every day, maybe hundreds of children are dying. Why? Don't we have enough materials, or don't we have enough people, or don't we have enough capital? We have. But some of the people don't have this. Some of the people have too much because of the interest. So there has been an accumulation or unjust distribution of income in the world. According to a Plain Truth review, a Protestant review, it was said that every $100 which is given to the South American countries, 60 of them comes back, only 40 goes to the country related. So therefore, without interest system, this profit and loss sharing system, the distribution of income of the world would be more just, based on just, and we had a more balanced world. Today you see in some countries, the high income creates some unethical activities, and some people go to the like existentialism, luxurious areas out of the law, and some of the people were starving. And you know, the rebels, terrorism, and all these kind of things, in spite of the civilization, in spite of the improved technology, the world people are not happy. Why? Because Islam introduced two systems. One, zakat, the other, prohibition of riba. So if the rich people provide zakat to the poor people, there will be more a balanced position in the social life, and the poor people will respect the rich people. If they don't get the riba, the accumulation of the capital in a few hands will not be realized. So Islam provides a more balanced economic and social life to the people. And you see, why communism and socialism came up? Because of the unjust application practice of the capitalist system. There was complaint against them, and socialism and Marxism and communism came up. Now today, communism couldn't succeed because it was not based also on the balanced system. Communism has gone out, but capitalism is still there. But what happened to the deficiencies of the capitalist system? Did they cure all of them? Not all of them. So therefore, still, the human beings are seeking for a better system. So here comes to the obligation of the Muslim people. They should try to understand what is the rules of Allah which is given to us. They should try to establish a good system, to practice it, and show the other people that there is a good system here. Why don't we apply in the whole world? But we couldn't do it up to now. And therefore, we couldn't improve ourselves, and we couldn't help to the mankind. But this is a task which is now has been realized, and many people believe that this is the time to introduce this system, to analyze this system, to learn this system at first by ourselves, then to introduce the other human beings, our mankind, to help to the welfare of the world. This is the aim. Yes, I am hopeful because as a Muslim, we cannot lose our hope, because in Amentu, we believe that the decision of mankind is given to him. This is called irade-i juz'iyye. But there is also irade-i kulliyye, a total direction, which belongs to Allah, to God. So He created us for this world. And He gave the rules to us. He said that if you obey to these rules, if you follow these rules, you can be more prosperous and being in the welfare in this world and come to me as a good human being. So therefore, Allah doesn't lie. If He promised us, it means that it can be realized. But this is our task to realize it. At first, we have to learn it. At first, we have to believe it. Then learn it, then practice it with sincerity. This is my hope.